Data is the new oil. Accuracy of the data set and setting that right guardrails around the data set becomes even more important today. You don't want to rely on an AI decision making process without really trusting and relying on your data sets. No risk, no rewards. It's kind of rung such a bell in my brain all the time that you cannot just keep that status quo and expect to grow. You got to innovate. Otherwise, if you just look for stability and status quo, you are going to be eaten up by someone else next door. Technology is there for your assistance. Find your true passion, true calling.
Use that passion to change the world and make money doing it. Hey, Srini.
Hello.
Welcome to Business Club.
Thank you so much, Sudev, for having me here.
Pleasure. I've been wanting to have this discussion with you for long, and finally, we made it happen.
Yeah, I'm super excited. Particularly, 2025 has just started,
Exactly.
which means all the boards in all corporates are starting to think what they can do with their AI journey, and I'm very excited to talk to you about it.
Great. Basically, just to give you an idea about what we do here, I know you've watched some of our podcasts, but still, this is all about small business.
Sure.
Generally, what we do is we kind of highlight small businesses and try to understand their journey. But this particular episode is slightly different because you come from the corporate world. You are a managing director with tech systems and specialize in AI and generative AI,
Sure.
which actually is going to help a lot of the small business owners. So I thought it is very, very important to have someone like you who come from the corporate world can actually influence or can direct the small business so that they can take some directions from you and do the right thing for their business. So I'm very excited about you joining us.
I appreciate you inviting me. As I said, I think it's exciting times, but at the same time, the territory of AI needs to be handled very carefully,
Absolutely.
particularly if you're a small business. So very eager to share my thoughts here.
Great. So let's just get started. So can you share a little bit background about yourself? I know you come from India, but how your journey has been. How did you get into the world of AI? And what do you do at your role? You don't have to get into the depth. Just give us a little bit of an idea about what it is.
Got to go back few years.
Yes.
But then I come from India, from a town called Ramagundam in Telangana.
Okay.
It's known for two things, coal mines and the hottest weather in South India. So
Right.
120 Fahrenheit was usual for us as we were kids playing.
So this must be heaven.
This must be really awesome, right? But then I will share you something that I have seen a plus 120 and a minus 50. So I have gone through a full spectrum of hot and cold conditions.
Minus 50 Fahrenheit?
Yes, that's from Minneapolis,
Phew.
from my experience. But
Amazing.
again, I should be grateful for my parents for inculcating a sense of strong education as a requirement right from the foundations. My dad, in spite of being a coal mine worker and having to work in forest, identifying where
Right.
can the next mines be, I don't know. I had to end up being in the data mining industry from that
This is
perspective.
one word that is common.
That's right.
Yeah.
But then again, me and my sister had great education as we were kids. And then purely for education reasons, we moved to different cities to make sure we get the right set of
Did you do
education.
IIT or something?
So I went to Anna University.
Okay, Anna University.
Again, from Chennai. And was a university rank holder as well.
Awesome.
There in the world of computer science. Computer science has always fascinated me right from 7th grade when I was introduced to it. And just the sheer joy of instructing someone to do something and then you returning the results always really made me feel a connect between a human and the machine. And right after college, it was a year of struggle. The conditions of 2001, 2002 was really tough. But again, I learned the art of persistence and did not give up. And my very first breakthrough was joining Oracle as a software engineer. And I was put into the data analytics team, which was brand new at that point of time.
And that was your specialization
That
too?
was my specialization. And in fact, my entire corporate path has been on data and AI world. But right from those foundations of looking at the data set holistically rather than just as a table and with a row and a column, made me realize the immense potential data had. And particularly when you are trying to help decision making, a human makes 35,000 decisions a day. That's what they say. At least if I can save 1,000 of those decisions with some good insights and visualization, I really felt that that was the territory that I'm going to enjoy. And lo and behold, this 22 years later, you still talk about data, you still talk about
It's never going to die.
decision making. It really brought my raw potential, to the fullest. And I in fact got a promotion every year when I was in my initial days, because I was just passionate about the topic. And until 2008, I was at Oracle, and that's when I decided that even though I'm developing these products, I started seeing issues logged by customers that they are unable to understand how to implement them for their own business. And I realized that there is something missing here. It's not just about developing a product in a black box environment. You need to be able to actually consult and implement the solution according to that particular customer's requirement. So the
That's right.
consulting space was really blank, I would say, because there were cookie cutter consulting companies, but they were not customizing the solution to what the customer was looking for. That's when my senior director started a startup. He invited me as engineer number one in the data world. And 17 years later, that company got acquired by Tech Systems, and I'm still here as a managing director for the data and AI. But I still remember that day one when I went into the startup. What does a startup company really require for it to be successful?
Right.
Particularly when it is consulting companies which are of equal or better than them, in terms of how can this data and AI can be made powerful for success of those companies.
Right.
And so that's my journey. Since Tech Systems acquired the startup back in 2012, I've seen tremendous amount of changes in the landscape, particularly in the data landscape. As cloud providers came in, started jumping into the cloud bandwagon. Now it is AI, Gen AI. So pretty passionate about the teams that I lead. Obviously, it's not a one person's journey.
Yeah.
I got to work with the whole team, and very happy where I am.
Awesome. So, what do you think are your pivotal moments during the journey?
I would say the decision to determine that having a good consulting experience where you are not just going deep into a specific topic, but you're also expanding your horizon, was a pretty pivotal moment. And I still remember those 4 words that my director had called me on phone and said, no risks, no rewards.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of rung such a bell in my brain all the time that you cannot just keep that status quo and expect to grow. You got to be open for feedback. You got to be open for learning. And every single day, I end up switching context 10 or 12 times a day, because I talk to different customers from different industries with different challenges. That same thought process of keeping an open mind, making sure I approach the context from where the opposite person is coming from, and then correlating with the right solution. I believe those specific words right at that time when my career was just taking off helped me not just lay back and then wait for things to happen, but rather take things under control and learn.
Yeah, I mean, some words some people say at the right time actually creates a very lasting impact on you. Cool. So you are very deeply passionate about artificial intelligence and data modernization. How did you cultivate that passion over the years? Because you've seen the landscape change.
True.
We've gone from Internet of Things to now artificial intelligence and a lot of things like that.
Yeah.
So how did you cultivate those change or passion for this change?
That's a great question, Sudev, because at the core of all of this is having solid data. So me being part of the data ecosystem right from day one of my career really helped to be on top of how can this particular data element, whether it is a text data or an image data or a voice sample data or or a seismic data, how can I actually make sense of this data set to be able to provide a decision making point to the end user? And as you rightly said, it never gets boring because data is the new oil, right?
Right.
That's what the whole world was looking at it back in 2017. And now with the advent of AI and machine learning, the data and the accuracy of the data set and setting that right guardrails around the data set becomes even more important today. You don't want to rely on an AI decision making process without really trusting and relying on your data set. So you got to have a solid data set on top of which your business processes should be optimized, on top of which the new technologies like AI, machine learning, large language models can come in and then optimize your business processes. So I would say the fundamental aspect of me having been in the data industry for 22 plus years helped me to make sure I am ready for this tactical and monumental changes in this landscape. And when I see all the outlook that companies like OpenAI, AWS and GCP are providing with respect to how the AI large
What's
language model,
GCP?
that's Google Cloud Platform.
Okay.
So pretty much all the key players in the data and AI space, when you look at their outlook that they are projecting, it just gives me even more. I feel like I'm 25 again. I got to learn a lot. At the same time, I know I'm
Back
at
to
a career.
basics.
I'm at a career path where the knowledge that I have gained should be passed on to the next generation. So I love these kind of opportunities when I'm able to talk as well.
Awesome. So I always look at this like continuous improvement. You develop something, you tighten it. You develop another thing, you tighten it, and that's how it goes. I think either you put it very well. It's a continuous learning process, and being at the forefront of it with the kind of experience that you have, helps you to be far ahead in the game.
I completely agree. I think when the concepts of agile was introduced, I was initially, because we were so used to this whole waterfall model, we used to design a full project plan where we are having a requirements gathering, and then you do a technical design, and then you do the coding, and then you test it, and then you roll over into the production. The whole fundamental shift of fail fast, and think in agile terms, where you are actually incrementally improving the product rather than just going for a full big bang approach. It kind of came at the right time, I would say, in the software career, where now more than ever, you want to, as a small business owner specifically, you want to make sure you are not investing yourself in month-long or I would say quarter-long projects, but rather what's the fastest way that you can get your benefit to prove whether a specific thing that you're approaching is right for your business. And I think the concept of agile, along with the CI/CD, which is continuous integration and deployment, I would say it's almost like the nature has conspired to create all the required ecosystems for us to actually jump onto this AI bandwagon today.
Cool. So I was reading this book on Elon Musk, his biography. One thing that he says is plan for 10 years, but execute in 1 year.
Amazing, right? I mean, I always get inspired by entrepreneurs who challenge the status quo. And when I saw that first rocket, landing back onto that takeoff spot, it just showcases when humans put their mind,
anything is
and
possible.
Machines kind of are assisting that specific break barrier mindset. I think we are going to see a lot more innovations in the next generation.
And when you talked about fail fast approach, that's what it reminded me of, because I think is a firm believer in fail fast, so that you can just keep improving and challenging the status quo. Great. Now coming back to shifting the gear a little bit. Now your role at Tech System and managing at Tech System, how does that align with helping small businesses? Do you help small businesses at all, or do you just cater to the big business?
No, we are a pretty global company, and we have customers ranging from all revenue segments as well as verticals. The way I would phrase your question is, AI is new to majority of the companies.
That's
because it's almost, even if you're a big company, you are still approaching AI under several lens. Like the governance lens, whether it is right for you to introduce AI into your business processes. How reliable is AI to make decisions? Is it going to create an employee morale dissatisfaction, if as if AI is coming and taking their job?
Jobs,
So
yeah.
there is so much of topics that basically
Myths.
encompass whether you are small or big. And the way we approach is really in a systematic manner. First, let's understand where you are in your data journey, in terms of data as an asset. We
Right.
always drive the point that data is your asset, and you need to protect it just like you protect your gold and
Yeah.
cars and valuables. You need to protect your data set because that's your secret sauce. And we always aim to make sure we put customer right in the middle. Big or small, doesn't matter. A customer comes right in the middle, where we address the solutions for that specific customer in the industry they are operating in. At the
Right.
same time, making sure the cloud first and security first principles are aligned, because it's important that we are no longer in that old world of on-premise systems, and then acquiring tons of compute power. We are in a cloud system, and while cloud can provide you all the required security, for protecting your business secrets, you got to put a security wrapper
Absolutely.
on top of
Yeah.
it, and then let AI take over and then give you all the insights in terms of helping your businesses accelerate. So again, I work with customers. As I said, I come from a startup experience, so I can quickly correlate
Right.
customers who are looking for expert advice and not just fluff.
Yes.
And it's my job as a managing director here to make sure me and my team members advise the customers in terms of thought leadership. How can they actually take advantage of some of the modern technology wonders and then accelerate their business?
Awesome. Awesome. So, what are some of the key challenges that we small businesses face when trying to adapt AI and data modernization?
So I would start that with the small businesses need to essentially know their customers. Who are they serving, right? What information do they need to be able to serve their customers better? Because only when you know who you are serving, you will basically be able to equip yourself with all the right data elements,
Right.
such that you can reach out to them and then give them that stellar service they expect from you. And sometimes it means you have to get the data elements from external sources to be able to provide. For example, a weather data might be inconsequential for your business, but then when you combine it with your logistics data and weather data, you are able to tell your customer whether you're going to be delayed in terms of shipment by 2 to 3 days because
Right.
of an impending storm. I think things like that, the small businesses should start thinking. And again, I'm not trying to boil the ocean in terms of trying to get all sets of data, but make those significant data acquisition which is going to impact your customer experience. And if you don't put your customer experience in the center of anything that you do, you are essentially just doing some technical innovations, not necessarily satisfying your client base.
Yeah, it's very important to balance that out.
Absolutely. And I think that's where it's important to understand your customer, understand their aspirations, understand what's your USP, unique selling proposition,
Yes.
and make sure you serve them with the technology evolutions. Do not just put technology at the first forefront. Rather, keep your customer in the forefront and then equip them with the technology innovations.
Yeah. So this should be like more like your helping hand rather than the main thing.
Absolutely.
Okay, very good. Okay, so how do you balance your technical expertise and business strategy to transform projects?
I think again, I wear multiple hats, sometimes 7 to 8. At home, I'm a dad and make sure my 2 boys are growing
And
up,
the dog too.
and the dog, my Pluto, I can't miss him. So we definitely in our personal lives and professional lives, we have to wear several hats,
Right.
and we have to make sure we do justice to each of those roles that
Yes.
we expect to do. Similarly, when it comes to handling both business strategy and technology strategy, it's important to talk the language of the listener. That's how I always think. Who am I
Who's
speaking to?
Yeah, right.
Am I speaking to a business expert? Then I don't want to talk all the technology geek
Correct.
language. I would rather want to connect with him or her
At
with
their
respect
level.
at their level, with respect to what's their common pain points. How can I help them address those pain points purely in the business lingo? And I
Right.
think that has helped me really establish a connection and a trust that we are not there to just oversell technology solutions, but rather we are from the point of how can we help you to be
You're
able
an
to do your job
enabler.
better.
You're basically an enabler. You're trying to educate them so that they take informed decisions.
Absolutely. But to do that, what's important is to have a lay of the land of the evolving trend.
Right.
You don't want to just be too theoretical and not have a backing solution in front of you. And again, as a thought leader here in the space, it's my responsibility to look at all the evolving trends, all the cloud players, how are they approaching cloud and AI, Gen AI initiatives internally, and make sure our customers who have already invested on a specific platform, how can they take advantage of existing investments before we start throwing in a bunch of new things to buy.
Got it. So, can you give me an example of how you and your team has actually helped any company? You don't have to name the company, but any company actually implement AI and it actually helped them significantly, either save time or improve their process or things like that?
No, I think the last 24 months have been extremely exciting. But I would say the last 12 months, where the things have moved from proof of concepts to actually implementation of concept, has really taken off. And I could think of an example where there was a customer who basically were dealing with tons of medical claims, for example. And those claims are going to be coming in a paper form, where you are basically asking for specific explanations, additional documents that needs to be scanned in order to process with the claim. And that, as you can imagine, a typical claim process is quite lengthy. And we were looking at how to optimize that processes using AI as well as some of the advanced technologies. Now, the concept of OCR, or the optical character reading for scanned documents, has been there for probably 10
Ages,
years,
yeah.
right? But then what it does is it looks at rigid spots within a document for specific information. And then once it extracts the information, it probably goes into a database and sits somewhere. The AI, the method of approaching the same problem statement of scanning a document and extracting the content and using AI for doing with the large language models, significantly optimizes the entire process, because now you're not training tons of sample files to actually look at a specific field, but rather AI, particularly large language models with its vision capabilities, can look at that blank sheet of paper with all the filled information, including handwritten, printed. It can look at it and it can understand what is this all about. It has the knowledge base behind the scenes to say that this is a medical claim form, or it's a driving license, or it's a pay stub. So it has that information on what type of document we are dealing. And once you extract the information, you push that into a knowledge base. Now you're not only doing extraction, you're also building your knowledge base behind the scenes, where your end users can ask. Like one of the examples that I would really love to talk about is, if there is a mortgage application, and there are some missing documents in today's process, it's a manual effort to really look at what are those documents that, when you apply for a mortgage, I'm sure you submit
Yeah.
tons of documents,
Yes.
right? How can we get to a state where a machine can quickly identify, based on a Fannie Mae housing rules and guidelines, what are those documents that are missing, and then quickly being able to give you that list, so that you can shorten that entire life cycle of a mortgage application process. So a lot of customers from our side have been taking advantage of our service offering that we recently launched, called intelligent document processing, that actually does these things behind the scenes in a cloud platform, and extremely fast in what it does. So I would say the customers were able to save quite an amount of money within the first couple of months of its rollout, because now you are having AI take care of certain parts of extraction. But we always emphasize, Sudev, that you should not kind of throw this whole thing into the AI's lap. Rather, still keep a human in the loop. Make
Then
sure
fine tune it.
certain business processes, such as you're making decisions and adjudications, you don't want AI to just do all by itself. You need to encompass AI to do the technology uplift, but you also should have subject matter experts and human connection to be able to make decisions. And I think the rightful combination of technology and human in the loop are going to shortcut a lot of legacy processes and make small businesses even more nimble.
Yeah, it just reminded me of our classic case with Chess Club, where how actually where like a lot of our students, a lot of our players, when they when they participate in tournaments, they write notations.
Yeah.
Those notations are handwritten,
Yep.
and kids of these ages, their handwriting is as good as doctor's handwriting, right? And it's very difficult to decipher. Once you scan them,
Yeah.
what I'm understanding from you is that actually that goes into the OCR comes into play. It transforms the handwritten note to maybe like a typewritten note, and then it reads the database or gets stored in the database. And that database, the notations actually runs against millions of games that are stored in the database, and then it does the analysis and things like that.
Yep.
So I think that's a great application that you could think of from a chess club standpoint.
Absolutely. I think we kind of talked
Yeah,
about
we
it,
talked about it.
when my younger one was playing a game,
Right.
and we were like, hey, in the eighth move, probably that is when the game started drifting
Right.
towards the strength.
Yes.
And what can we do to keep that, that strength pattern maintained? I think, again, um, what we are going through is having this knowledge base of billions of parameters and hundreds of thousands of games experience. Applications like AI can make the student learn the concepts faster.
Faster, exactly.
And it's also visual. It's not just a theoretical, a long lecture, right? So you can actually see how a particular pattern is evolving, and it can help that kid
Right.
actually accelerate the learning pathways.
Yeah, I see. Gukesh Damaraj, who's a current chess champion, world chess champion. He became, I think, at the age of 18.
18. Yeah.
I won't be surprised with all the AI and modernization. There'll be somebody who will come along the way and become a world champion at the age of 15 or 16.
See, now it's I just hope that as AI comes into our everyday usage,
Right.
we still don't lose connection,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
we are humans first.
Yes.
And AI is always a technology enabler, but my wish, to the next generation is to not let
Not
the
depend
human
on that.
connection,
Yeah, yeah.
wade off.
It's so important to have that human connection, because at the end of the day, we are all a social animal.
Absolutely.
So great. So let's shift a little bit and talk about some challenges in the industry.
Yeah.
What are the most common misconceptions that small businesses have about AI and data analytics?
So I think I'll start with probably cost. I think that's one prohibitive barrier, because people think
Is that a misconception?
it's a misconception that hey, it's costly to hire a prompt engineer. It's costly to set up an AI team. It's costly to get going with a AI initiative, because it seems very geeky, right?
Right.
But which is not the case, actually. If you have good data hygiene in your company, that you are actually managing your data set, and you are of course, if you're working off Excel sheets and Word documents, probably you might need a little bit of tuning to make sure your data is at least governed. But then once you have your data in the right place, AI wrappers are all APIs these days, right? All the CSPs, the cloud service providers, provide you a free tier. They want you to get into the AI world.
Right.
And each of them, in my opinion, are again going in a unique way. For example, AWS focuses on providing a platform like Bedrock, which will allow you to connect to Anthropic models or Amazon Nova models. So basically, they are building a platform of connecting to different machine learning models. Azure and Microsoft, on the other hand, are embedding their AI right into the the platform, like the Microsoft Office,
Okay.
right? The co-pilots in the Office, OpenAI partnership. So they are essentially going through an enterprise AI availability, where you are able to just search for anything right within your laptop. And Google, on the other hand, are going through the search based, right? So where you are able to retrieve the RAG process, or the retrieval augmented generation, where you are able to get the output out of AI systems for your queries. So each of these cloud players are enhancing the ecosystem, and you should not be thinking that you got to go into one specific cloud player for your AI problem.
Could multi
It could be a very well
multifaceted.
a hybrid solution. So it's again comes back to the initial point as to who are you serving,
Yes.
and accordingly
Customize it.
bring all the different cloud players for their strengths, and then connect together or weave together an AI solution.
Got it. So, how do you address concerns around cost, complexity, and scalability for small business owners?
Yeah, so I think I would say we should make sure put a good security principles. This is where we normally call it as a risk mapping and a mitigation exercise,
Right.
where you want to actually look at if you are embarking on an AI driven business process optimization, what are those risks? Are you actually introducing bias into the decisions? Are you over relying on AI for performing certain actions that could actually have hallucinations and wrong results? So make sure you put through yourself a risk mapping and mitigation exercise, so you are entering into this AI journey with a clarity in mind.
And you create those boundaries which you should not cross.
Extremely important. When the government issues regulations, they are for a reason, right? We don't want
Yeah.
AI to just go untamed, I would say, right? Make sure you put
That's a
those
great word.
put those great barriers, just almost like a checkpoints, not necessarily barriers
Yeah, toll
from
gates.
success, but rather validate the observations
Yeah.
that AI is generating if it is aligning to your business process. And I would say again, cost, complexity, scalability. The complexity and scalability can be easily achieved with the cloud platform. Make sure put that right mapping mitigation exercise along with cost efficient strategies. Do not lose cost, I would still say that, because
Right.
today you might be testing back and forth with hundreds of tokens, and then when you release into production you are talking about thousands of tokens or millions of tokens, then cost is going to hit you.
Yeah, you have to be very cognizant of those costs.
Yes. And I think some of the new trends which we will talk shortly is going to take care of those as well, in my opinion.
Great, great. So, what are some of the biggest risk, according to you, for the from a small business perspective, the misuse of AI and things like that?
So my take on that, Sudev, is AI should be your enabler. It should not be your main, customer reaching strategy. Because for a small business, two things are important. One is personal connection with the
Right.
user base that you are trying to build, and second, have a good sense of financial hygiene, right? So not necessarily just bloat out the technology evolution beyond your revenue streams. You got
Yeah,
to
yeah.
have a fine balance of the cost and the return on investment along with your revenue streams.
Live within your means.
Yeah, I mean, you
You-
definitely should have high
yeah,
aspirations,
yeah, yeah.
but you should, again, the same fail fast
Correct.
approach
Yeah.
should be consistently attributed. Now, I could just think of things. Imagine, when did you ever go back and clicked on that spam folder in your life, right? Once you know that a machine has sent you something that actually is a spam message
Right.
that's not valuable for you, it stays in the spam forever until you probably clear
Delete
it
it.
out,
Yeah, yeah.
right? As a small business, I don't want you to become, use up AI as another spam folder, where if your user base no longer connects with you because you are bombarding them with AI insights, AI solutions, which are not relevant to what they are looking from
Correct.
you,
Yes.
then you are essentially just overburdening them with information that they may not be ready for. So keep that human connection. Make sure you are looking at how can I serve this particular user base I have got, where if they have a question or two, yes, there is an option to give you self-service knowledge base, so they can ask the question through the AI engine and get that answer. But in case they want to talk to someone, have that option always open. And that's key. Again, we come back to the same, humans are social animals. Let's not make AI as a once for all kind of a solution, but rather keep the human connection continuing.
Great. Let's talk a little bit about the industry trends. We are in 2025, and what trends do you see in both the AI and data analytics, as far as the exciting world of small businesses?
I think I'm super excited, right? That's how I started this whole conversation with. Uh, and the reason is evolution. right? The AI is evolving fast in terms of its capabilities, its
Right.
the cost model efficiencies, and most importantly, models that we know would work. For example, the model distillation is one feature that's actually taking a lot more center stage in 2025, wherein it's almost like a teacher student. You don't need a billion or 175 billion parameterized model for your business. Rather, for your business, you might actually be good with a 50 million. However, whenever you reduce the parameters, your efficiency lowers.
You're right.
So how about a teacher, a 175 billion parameterized teacher, teach this 50 million for your specific scenario? How can you distill that large model into a smaller purpose driven model, and you can use this 50 million at a cheaper cost, but it will do exactly the same efficiency as the large model.
So basically, what you're telling me is, from my layman's perspective, don't use the full capability of the AI if you really don't need to. Just have the AI customize the solution within the parameters that you define.
Absolutely.
Is that okay?
I think that again, as a small business owner, cost is important.
Yes.
So you cannot chase after those shiny new toys.
Yes.
Where everybody talks about GPT, let's say 4.0. You don't need a GPT 4.0. There is a GPT 4.0 mini.
Yeah.
It is sufficient for you to get your job done. And again, this is where it's important for us to think through on what am I really doing here? How am I using my AI businesses, to optimize my business process and bring that appropriate model for solution. So that's one thing. The second one that I'm super excited is around agentic AI, wherein pretty much that's going to be a top thinking across the boards this year. Again, it's in plain layman terms, as you said, a bunch of divisions within your company, each doing its own subject matter expertise jobs, like a HR job or a operations job, customer service job, or a programming software developer job. There are certain functions that actually they are really good at. Give them the right prompt, surrounding ecosystem, data set to do that job through agents.
So, okay, and I've seen some agent studios crop up. I think there are a couple of agents studios in Charlotte too. And from what I understand, what you're saying is, hey, let's just, if you're talking about support, then you can build the knowledge base and everything around that and have an agent cater to the customers based on that support model. And then let's say if it is customer relationship management, that's a different agent. If it's a, is that what you're saying?
That's exactly right. Okay. I mean, a purpose-driven, small, focused, catering to the end user in its own way. For example, a person who is calling you for a customer support might require a different set of response than a person who is actually inquiring you from about a new product. Right. So how can you tailor the response to the person who is reaching out with a limited set of data that this particular agent is trained on, but it's damn good at doing what it needs
to do. From what I understand, a sales agent may be focused on booking appointments.
Absolutely.
A support agent might be providing the right answers to the already existing customer.
Absolutely. So I think that's where you are basically looking at chunking that AI strategy into a multitude of divisional strategy, right? And I would still say this is where I would put the disclaimer that you got to learn. If you are doing certain jobs today in these divisions, you got to be on top of how can AI equip me. Again, as I look at the landscape, majority of the companies are looking at AI in the context of augmented AI, which means they are not just about taking away jobs, right? To keep that I would say the elephant in the room. It's not about
losing
job
jobs,
replacement. It's about enabling the role that you are performing to perform
make it better. I will give you a classic example. I mean, this questionnaire that you saw, you probably realized it. It's a agent-driven question that took me just 5 minutes to.
You use AI day in and day out.
Exactly. So anyway, that's a little secret out there for everyone. Anyway, so small businesses go through a lot of dilemma. What are some of the ethical considerations that we should actually consider?
I think that's a great point that you brought out, because right from the world when data security and data privacy, were very core and critical, for such as Europe regulations, the
Yeah.
UK, Ireland, as well as US, Canada, data regulations, uh, protecting your data, um, allowing your end users for the right to forget, make sure that you're protecting and preserving the data set that you're holding of your customers. It's important that your data privacy, data protection standards
Has to be top notch.
directly
Mhm.
correlate with how your AI business processes and integration that you can achieve.
Correct.
So it's important that again you start with data, put a nice little fence rail around it, and then bring your AI as a wrapper, so that now you are governing your AI responses right off your protected data sets. So
Got it.
it's important as a small business to not let, again, as I said in the past, the data is your secret sauce. You got to realize it faster,
Yeah.
instead of just publishing it around in the wider world.
Got it. Got it. And so, how do you advise small businesses today to kind of stay competitive in these data-driven decision-making process?
I would say the first thing is be open to change.
Hmm.
Even if you are 2 months into the industry, in the industry of AI, data sets are moving so fast. Be as a startup, rather, that's their advantage, that
Yeah.
they are not carrying the big baggage like the
Right.
big companies,
Hmm.
right? But then the only baggage they carry is, I would almost say, would self-doubt, whether I should jump into this today or should I wait for a year, to really use the system. And this is where my take is, uh, if it applies to your business and it is going to make your user experience for your end users better, take advantage of them
Got
today
it.
and not wait for it.
Cool. So you've had this long, illustrious career. For you said 22 years. Is that
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
Okay. So, what are some of the key lessons that you learned over the years in both innovation as well as leadership?
For taking me past some memory lanes, I would say my biggest moment of, I would say, personal satisfaction is always when I see someone I hired from the college today actually designing and architecting systems for a major company, right?
Wow.
And I have bunch of them. So it's almost like I have prepared the next generation of architects.
Legacy.
Yeah, it's truly heartening. Again, I'm still young,
Yeah, of
so
course.
I still
Yeah.
have few years left here. But what I really warmingly recollect is, if you have the right intention to learn, you basically can be coached, whether it is a technology or a business or a leadership. And that's the reason why I continue to think myself as a learner rather than
Yeah. You're a
just
lifelong learner.
absolutely. And I think the space that we are operating in is evolving. It's not static. So my biggest takeaway is, you should be just like water. Just be fluid.
Fluid.
Be fluid.
Go with the flow.
Learn around. One day you will have so much of power that the potential energy in yourself, that you will show it in a waterfall.
Cool. What mistakes do you think small businesses you see them make, and how can they avoid, especially when you talk in terms of the AI and the new technologies that we're seeing today? Data, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. I think again, I would not say mistakes, because small businesses learn every day. And if you stop learning, and if you
Yeah.
try to basically harp on the negatives of what happened yesterday, it's not going to help you grow. So more than anything, small businesses have to be really nimble and address to the market that they are really focusing on. In fact, I take great pride in coaching my own kids who have entrepreneurial ambitions, at least in terms of how to think about that end market. For example, we kind of started a small house project called the Spark Translate. It's an app that we want to utilize AI, and we want to help communication simplified. Because if you really look at it, human beings thrive on communication. And if I can't talk the language that you understand,
Right.
I'm not communicating, I'm just talking.
Effectively, yeah.
Right. And using AI, you are able to now connect people. Like, for example, if there is a real estate agent, and today that particular person's market share is only English speaking audience, we have now technologies that can actually
Translate.
quickly translate from English to Spanish and expand their marketplace. So how can we utilize technologies and be able to expand your marketplace, but at the same time not just be transactional in nature? You got to have emotions. I was talking to my son. The way a translation hits me as a 45-year-old versus how it hits him as a 16-year-old is widely different. So cater to your end user in the way it can basically relate to them. And I think use your startup skills, use your AI and data that you hold to actually address to a wide variety of your market place in the way they can actually correlate.
Awesome. You mentioned Spark Translate.
Yes.
And Spark, holds a very
Oh, yeah.
important uh, prominence in your heart. And can you just expand to the world what the Spark means?
No, again, it's just a pet project today
I
that
know.
we are essentially starting, but it does take all our first names, a letter
Initials.
from Srini, Pluto, Aditya, Ramya, and Karthik.
Awesome.
That's basically the 5-member fraternity of our home household that we and it actually kind of sparks new ideas.
Great.
It can spark new thoughts. It can essentially, the objective of what we are trying to do is AI holds immense promise if you are able to think through use cases and apply them effectively. And we hope one day this will lead to a bigger venture.
So let's there be spark in everyone's home.
Oh, that's
That's
fantastic.
the vision, right?
That's the tagline.
That's
now.
a tagline. Let there be spark in everyone's home. Okay, great. So as a mentor and advisor, what has been some of the most rewarding? I know you talked rewarding experiences in your career. The reason why I say is, you mentioned about some of those
Right.
kids whom you've hired from the colleges. They're doing some of, but what other experiences did you have?
So, see, I'm not just a technology guy. I actually coach kids cricket, and I see when I see the
When
kid
you see a spark in them,
exactly when I see the kid who I coached him how to hold the ball and
Right.
deliver, and then he takes my wicket. Again, for people who might, cricket is a game that we play.
Yeah.
Most of the Indians,
Like baseball.
yeah, and that's immense satisfaction, right?
Indeed.
So it's not just about technology. In anything that you do, you got to leave a legacy, and for that you got to be really open minded.
Right.
Even if you are on the receiving end of the same knowledge that you taught, you got to be open minded and cherish the success of others.
Absolutely. So, and I always say, your teacher, you become a great teacher if your student actually beats you in chess.
No doubt about
Yeah.
it.
So, I mean, I see it all the time. The kids whom we have started teaching, and within a year or two, they take Karthik. For example, I can't play Karthik anymore because
See, that's the beauty of human brain, right? Everybody thinks differently, and as you spark the neurons in certain sections of your brain,
Right.
It's kind of the neural network that can actually spawn across.
Yes.
Because everybody is carrying their own experiences. And this is why, in spite of me talking all about AI technology today, I still feel we are human at the end of the day, and humanity and being human still counts a lot.
You really sparked a lot of thought in me. No, great. What advice would you give some of those aspiring entrepreneurs? And I always take example of, say, Aryan. He's a 22-year-old. I won't call him kid anymore, but he just graduated. And let's say if he wants to get into the small business or get into some business, what must he do to kind of get that leap forward using AI? What are the things that you would want to advise him?
So I would say, again, first of all, welcome to the entrepreneurial journey, right? As a young kid, you are not yet conditioned to only think in a certain way. You do have hundreds of, I would say, potential paths that you can
Choose.
choose. Choose the one that first makes you
Aligns with
morally
your-
aligned to your moral values, right? It's important that I think Steve Garrett continues to
yeah.
say about the ikigai,
Ikigai, yes.
right? And how you should pursue something where you are passionate about.
Yes.
Don't just jump into the bandwagon because it's the tech term or a
Yes.
buzz of the industry or whatnot. But if it is aligning to your moral compass, that's what will make you feel passionate about it. It will make you get up in the morning and make you learn more and make you drive towards a specific goal. So any aspiring young entrepreneur, I would say the technology here is there for your
Right.
assistance. Find your true passion, true calling,
And
then
then
use technology as your real enabler.
then use that passion to change the world and make money doing it.
You got to make money,
Right.
but I would say again, make money while making others happy.
Absolutely, that's the key. Great. And those for those who are struggling with resources, what are some of the ways that actually they can start off AI with some, say, low cost, say, budget and things like that? Do you have any suggestions?
Again, pretty much all the major cloud service providers have specific services. If you really look at it, services like Bedrock from AWS or Gemini from Google, they are available at quite a
Reasonable price.
reasonable price. In fact, millions of tokens for few dollars. That's what we're
Per
talking.
month, yeah, okay.
So it's really looking
Even
for
ChatGPT Premium, for example,
my
20
son
bucks.
keeps challenging me that this is all available for free from ChatGPT, right? So again, utilize your Copilot, ChatGPT, your existing investments that you have invested, if let's say on Microsoft Office, etc., reuse them. But then if you are looking for a specific model and a specific response pattern, use the cloud technologies where you can control the costs, you can manage the overall spend. You have visibility, because cloud is all about spend as you go,
Right.
so if you are prudent in your financial knowledge base, you can actually get a maximum out of it.
At the end of the day, I think it also boils down to what do you really want out of AI, and how there's like so many tools out there, and I think every day there's a new tool that is coming. Which one do you use, and then which one you can actually use effectively, and maybe just stick to a few of them, one or two or three of them, and then use to the extent that, okay, you know what you're doing, and then jump onto the next one.
That's true.
So one question I have, I mean, this is something that it's been sparking in my mind for
Okay, the topic of the day is
Spark.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
exactly. Sparking in my mind for quite some time. So there is Gemini, there is ChatGPT, there are Perplexity, and there's Claude, and then what else? I don't know.
You have Bedrock, where
Bedrock and
Amazon Nova models now.
So what are the key differences between each of these things? I think one, I know that some of these are wrappers, but I think what are the key differences between each of these things? Can you just explain?
So really speaking, it all depends on whether you're getting a framework where behind the scenes you can connect to different models. I mean, at the end of the day, your query is going into a large language model that is trained using a specific number of parameters in the real world for you to get back the answer. And you are going to pass the prompt along the way, that you got to be a customer service representative. That's what your job is. And then do not, crack jokes on me. Just be direct and to the point. So you are going to set up a prompt, a query, and a large language model reference, and then you're going to get the output. All these different players, as I was explaining before, they come from a different angle, right? For example, the ChatGPT, the Microsoft ecosystem comes from a enterprise angle. The Google comes from a search and retrieval angle, and AWS comes from a platform angle. So it all depends on what's right for you
as a business,
for your business. And again, the entry points pretty much across the cloud have been made extremely low, which means you should be able to take advantage of these APIs with just one call. Give an API token and you can get the response back. Now, what are you going to do with that response? That's critical for you to be successful.
Got it. Okay. How can small businesses measure the ROI, especially in investments like within AI? Is there a certain amount that they should be spending, or just walk me through that?
Yeah, I think that's a great point, and I think it's one of the toughest question of this interview. The reason is the return on investment is subjective, right? So it's
Absolutely.
not a hard metric that I spent $50 and I got 50,000 tokens. What are you doing with those tokens,
Yeah,
right?
that's very
Are
important.
you helping a customer move from a 4.5 to a 5.0 rating? Are you helping your supplier to become better than what they have been supplying you with the goods, because you're able to give them the performance and feedback effectively? So it all depends on how you are utilizing this investment from a both soft metric as well as hard metric, right? Not just about some KPIs that you're meeting,
So
like a
they're
key
not
performance
tangible,
indicator.
not necessarily
Not
tangible.
necessarily tangible. Your user who is going into your website has a problem statement and they want to get an answer, could have had a great soft power, through your AI response, that they feel extremely happy about the conversation and they can get off your platform, right?
Got it.
Sometimes you might have to still give them a call.
Mm.
That's what takes them to
But
feel
at
happy.
least that 80% of that journey is covered through AI.
That's right. So it's important that when you're talking about return on investment, you look at what your user experience evolution has been prior and after an AI implementation.
Got it.
Are you able to measure the user experience satisfaction ratios? Whether the connections have improved from the previous world. And those are soft metrics that are not necessarily measurable, and that is where making sure you adopt AI strategy around user experience transformation is extremely critical.
Got it. Great answers, by the way.
Yeah,
So what we will do is on the next section is more about we call it as a rapid fire,
okay.
and these are some questions we've crafted, to get some not necessarily one word answers. I'll let you decide how much time you want to
Sure.
spend, but they are, from my mind, it's rapid fire. So I'm going to ask you a few questions, and then I will have some other questions towards the end. Okay.
Absolutely. Fine.
AI or human intuition, what wins?
So that's being a technologist. While my mind says AI, my heart still says human intuition will win.
Yeah.
Because it's the humans who are actually going to determine, as recipients of AI results, as to how applicable it is for them. And I would say human intuition.
Good. So, it's always like this, when somebody comes to me and says this, he said, do you want a roti maker or do you want your wife to make roti? Just
Actually,
kidding.
if you really look at some of the modern scientific discoveries, the gut is much more powerful than what we all knew.
Oh, yeah,
It,
absolutely.
it's now secreting hormones like dopamine, which
Yeah.
we never knew that it would actually do it. So I would say the evolution of humankind over these millions of years is strong enough to take over any technology.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes a lot of sense to have that human connection first. We're always human first, digital next.
That's true.
Cool. So, favorite programming language?
What, there's a story to this. I call it jQuery. I think it's probably a less
Java?
known.
Okay.
It's a less known programming language in the world, but it has helped me so much to learn what's going on behind the scenes of what I'm seeing on the screen. If it's almost like a question behind the question, and it can actually answer it. And I learned all of it in a flight,
Wow.
from in a 2-hour flight. So you can imagine it's still so close to my heart that I build my personal applications using jQuery. So I still love it.
Great. What's a personal productivity hack that you do almost every day?
I start my day with real calming music
Meditation?
because it's almost like I got to start the day with a fresh start. All the yesterday's baggage got to go somewhere. That it doesn't bother me today, and my Pluto actually makes a nice
Make it
little
easier.
makes a nice little music along when I start the music in the morning. So it's a great start to the day.
So, do you have any particular music that you want to recommend? Or I know there's an app which actually was recommended by my sister. It's developed by UCLA. But if you have any,
I mean, I basically listen to some of the Carnatic
oh,
songs
okay,
and
like
little
the
devotional aspects in the
that's
morning.
great.
Yeah.
Kaushalya Chopra.
Yeah, that's right.
Great. Yeah. I mean, actually, that's such a powerful.
It is. As I said, my Pluto actually makes quite a divine sound
Yeah.
when that goes on the TV. So there is a connection between a music and a brain, irrespective of a human brain or a dog's brain.
Yeah.
I think music has the power to heal.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I love that MS Subbulakshmi's music.
That's right.
That's great. Innovation or stability?
you got to innovate. Otherwise, if you just look for stability and status quo, you are going to be eaten up by someone else next door, who have a better way to reach your customers, and a better way to execute that industry vertical. So you got to innovate every single day. Just don't Of course, you've got to be stabilizing your business and so on and so forth, but let innovation stabilize your business.
Got it. And that's applicable for any size business.
Absolutely.
Great, great. What's the best book that you would recommend for understanding AI?
So instead of a book, as I said, all these different players are actually approaching AI in their own unique way.
Yeah.
Some of the writings that I follow, like Stephen Wolfram writing from Alpha, it's really amazing to understand some of the AI concepts.
What's the
whole
website?
It's just writings.stephenwolfram.com. So you feel like it will explain you how a chat GPT works. What are those steps that actually goes behind, and if you really keep scrolling that page, you will notice a bunch of numbers and digits, and you will be like, is this how ChatGPT is responding
Binary.
by my next word? As it is, you might see on the screen, it's kind of starting to put all these different phrases one after another. It's building behind the scenes what's the next optimal
in
And
microseconds.
absolutely, and I think without GPU power. So I would say pursue blogs, because that actually comes from people who have experienced in doing a certain type of activity on the AI world, and there are tons of them.
Do you write?
I do for my company, yes.
But for yourself, do you have any personal blog that you?
That's a great one. That probably I got to
start one.
I mean, I had one where I journaled my early part of my career, but it's taken a hiatus.
I think with this AI and the kind of expertise that I think it's the right time to start one.
That's right.
Cool. Are you a morning person or an evening person?
I'm a morning person. I get up quite early, 5:30ish. Want to get up at 5, but today it's 5:30 as of now. Evening is for kids, so obviously it's a relaxed time.
Cool. One AI tool that every business should use today.
I mean, if you are using Microsoft Office in some shape or form, play around with Copilot. Do not just sit back and do the same old ways of doing things. There's a lot of it, the features that are coming up, but again, even whether you're a user of Microsoft or not, look for these small APIs. Look for these niche companies that are going to give you AI insights. In a moment of shift. Yeah.
Cool. And any recommendations for G Suite users?
Again, Gemini and the Looker. Every product is now almost having an AI wrapper.
Yeah, that's right.
Anything that you touch, you are going to have an AI wrapper. So be curious. Hey, I'm going to use this product today. What's the AI wrapper around it that I can actually take advantages of?
Yep, makes sense. What's the most exciting tech trend in 2025?
As I was highlighting, I believe, the model distillation, the teacher student, the agentic AI, and I'm sure there are tons of others that, the announcements could come as early as next month from all these major players, when the new government comes in. So I'm excited for every single thing.
It's about 3 days from now, right?
It's
cool.
Days coming.
So work from home or office setup?
That's a interesting one, because I personally work from home for the last 10-20 years.
From what I know of you, yes.
And I have learned the skill of building the exact relationship depth that I would build even when I am, let's say, next to you in physical presence. So it all depends on how open you are in terms of being open, because actually a fun story. I go back maybe 3 years. We had a small hackathon, and within the company.
Okay.
Yeah, and the product that I developed, we called it "You Are on Mute." And what it was essentially, again, what it was trying to emphasize is, you are on this umpteen number of calls every single day. You're joining, logging off, joining another one, logging off. How much are you contributing to these discussions?
Yeah.
And for us, it was a very simple look at the transcription and look at who joined, and then look at who was contributing. You will find funny things like a person talked for 99% of the time, and then the rest of the 10 people were just there listening for a minute. And these are some of the traits that we want to use technology and help people correct themselves, where they are not waiting for things to happen, not just putting their thoughts in their mind but not expressing them out. So So my take is, again, it's important for bringing out the best in everybody out into the open, and whatever it takes for technology to assist, that's where I would go.
Yeah, I personally think that in today's world, I think people, especially after COVID, I think people are not so motivated to work for other companies. As a result, their participation is kind of minimal. Okay, they're getting a great fat paycheck, but they are not so.
Yeah, I mean, if you are not contributing
Yeah,
your role efficiently, you
it's
are going to
just only a
be,
matter of
it's a
time.
matter of time. So
Yeah,
again, be open to learn. Whether you're working from home, of course, I do like to travel and meet people and
yeah,
have real conversations. But irrespective of where you are, you just be yourself.
correct. And I think it's important to people realize. I mean, it's so. It is so common these days that if you're working from home, most of the times we take advantage, or we feel that it's easier not to wake up on time.
Oh,
It's easier
right.
to lay in the bed and just come in five
Yeah,
minutes before the
yeah.
meetings and things like
Yeah,
that.
you got to be
Disciplined.
100% prepared and mentally switched on
Yes,
when you're working. As simple as that.
exactly.
Whether you're working for yourself or working for others,
Absolutely,
it's
100%.
important that you be at your best. I mean, actually, I recollect when my wife gave me a book back in 2008, which said, "Who will cry, when you die," from Robin Sharma.
Yeah, yeah. The guy
It was
who was the monk who
Yeah,
sold
the
a
monk who sold
safari.
his Ferrari. So
Ferrari, not
it's
safari.
it's a great book for me at that time, where my passion, productivity, people connection,
Mhm.
it was all encompassed, that
In that
resonated
one
with
book,
me,
yeah.
which is like, just be at your best in everything you do and give your best. You don't expect results 100%. Sometimes you are learning through the process, but just don't turn up half prepared.
That is one thing, and one thing that I'd like to say to the youngsters also today is, instant gratification is a myth. I don't think uh, you should be geared for instant gratification. There will be results.
Yes.
If you want to achieve a certain level of success,
Yeah,
you have to give the sacrifice,
absolutely.
and that being disciplined, being focused, is part of the journey.
Yeah, and it's not hard work. It
It is
can
not
be,
hard. Yeah,
the human brain can tackle challenges and move on, and use these experiences to be better tomorrow.
great. This is a great question. One habit that keeps you sharp.
um, I connect with people. I don't connect transactionally. I actually connect
Human, in a human
human,
manner.
in a setting where I want to make them successful. I want to see them successful. So in every conversation I have, whether it's part of my work, or
Right.
when I play cricket, or when I actually go with my kids around, my focus is just be present at that moment. I mean, sometimes I'm switched off just like others, but as much as possible. uh, and I have acquired a lot of near and dear friends purely because of that habit of
Yeah.
not being transactional, but
Yeah, I
rather,
mean, our
connect
relationship also
connect
is
with
like
a
that.
emotion in
Yeah,
mind.
absolutely. No, 100% agreed. So you don't have to answer this, because the next question is all about podcast.
Sure.
So what's your favorite podcast on business or technology?
You
And you
know
don't have
what?
to say this.
I will say, start with Business Club is a great venture to start, right? I'm excited. As I told you prior to this recording,
Right.
I'm catching up on episodes, because again, these are all insights from people who have
Been there, done
traversed a
that.
path.
Yes.
They traversed a path of establishing, strong business culture and ethics on how to succeed, right? Some of them are still
Through the
exploring. It's
process,
not
yeah.
like, it's not a destination, right? It's a journey. But to your other point with respect to my podcast, I would say, one thing that I've been listening over the last 5 to 6 years is something called Optimal Living Daily, which is like OLD. That's what it says, old, from Justin Malik. It kind of gives me a sense of, in fact, what he does is, he reads pre-written blogs, but he reads them after getting permission from the author.
Got it.
It kind of inculcated a sense of the data security and
Yeah,
how
yeah, yeah.
important it is to not just go in and do something, but rather make sure the person who has originally written is given credit, and also given, gives the approval. And that's how you want to treat data with,
Yeah,
with
absolutely.
respect. Even if you get hold of data, give it that respect that it deserves. But a technology podcast, I have been part of Tech Talk Daily from Neil Hughes. I love.
You were.
Yeah, I was part of it
Oh, that's
once.
awesome.
It
Okay.
was about a year back, but I love the vibe he brings in.
Great.
And yeah, it's like keep myself busy on some of these things.
Actually, one of my friends, Amit Agarwal, I don't know if you know him. He's supposed to be I think the godfather of Indian blogging
Wow.
series. One of the first bloggers there. He's a website called Labnol, and he comes up with these amazing tools and trips. And shout out to Amit if he's listening to this. I follow him quite a bit, and you should
Fantastic.
probably check out
Yeah, absolutely.
labnol.org.
Again,
Yeah,
we are learning every single day. So
right.
any information that comes from any angle, we got to be receptive to that.
Yep, absolutely.
Thank you for that.
Yep. One thing you think AI can't replace.
I would still say AI can give you all the equipment, but the final mile
Human.
is really, the human emotion connecting to the another human emotion is something that AI, however sweet that AI talks on the phone, that, you're not
It's
talking to a
yeah,
real human, because your human brain knows the difference between someone connecting with with an
mach-
emotion connect attached voice versus a voice.
got it. Best advice you have ever received.
I think I talked to you about the no risk, no
Yeah,
reward right
yeah,
at the beginning.
yeah.
But then, in addition to that, it's important that I'm learning every single day. The wide variety of ventures that you yourself take up, that is kind of all over the place. But then all of them are gearing towards one
Yeah, common.
common theme. It gives me great insights. My entrepreneurs at home are always there with a lot of ideas. So I'm more enjoying this phase where I'm able to work with my customers through the professional setup, helping them, but also seeing the next generation on how they want to perceive and receive content, and how can I be the bridge between the two generations.
That's basically brings a spark in you and
Oh
out
yeah,
of you.
absolutely.
Cool. What's the greatest challenge you've overcome in your career?
I could have easily stayed in my professional career in the product development company and retired, probably, because I was receiving, as I said,
Yeah.
promotion every year, and everybody almost took surprising turn of their heads, when I switched over to the startup at that point of time. Um, I would say purely because I felt I can do more, and I can do, a lot more. I can pick up a lot more challenges in my career pathway. So again, when I did make the switch, when you relinquish all the comforts that you are used to from a major
Yeah.
company into a startup mode, the lifestyle kind of changes. And
Changes.
the funny part is, I had just been married for 3 months. So it was a little bit of selling back to my in-laws that this startup
Should be
company
okay.
is also okay. We can grow from here. And thanks to my family for the constant support there. But during those initial days, making sure you don't lose out your identity, because you are now moving on from a corporate world to a startup world, hunting customers. I remember still, where in a car, like a fair, like these expos that happen, I've gone probably through the hallway to find a customer who was just about inquiring other customers as to who can help them with their data journey.
Right.
I was not stalking, but I was definitely
Yeah.
making sure, going there, listening to their concerns, and then bringing them back to our booth, and they became a great customer of ours.
Great.
So keep your
Eyes and ears open. Yeah.
passion, going. Do not just give up because you moved from point A to point B. That passion has to remain.
Awesome. Are you a coffee person or a tea person?
I come from
Tamil
Chennai,
Nadu.
so it's like a Madras filter coffee.
Coffee.
That's what I would say. But also I grew up in Hyderabad, where the Irani
Irani
chai.
chai.
So it's like it's a
Mix.
tough question. So I would say a coffee person.
Are you a sambar person or a dal person?
Okay, now that is you're taking it to the next level. But yeah,
It's
see,
the-
I'm a pretty
That's never part of this.
sattvic food.
Okay. Okay.
That-
Very good. What inspires you outside of work?
I am the cricket captain. So this morning I had a great game. What it shows is, it's a team sport, right? So you can be a shining, bright individual, but then if you cannot operate as a team, you basically are not going to get the results. So my biggest strength, I would say, is how can I play together within a team and make the entire team successful. And sometimes you lose, but then today was a great day.
Great. Are you a King Kohli fan or are you the Hitman fan?
Probably a little bit of I am a bowler, so I would say I'm a
Ashwin.
Shane Warne fan.
Shane Warne,
It's
okay.
like I'm a spin bowler
Oh
now,
yeah, that's why
so
it's good.
I do some tricks to
So
my
you do give some
folks.
warning to people.
They search for the ball while I deliver it. So
That's cool. They search for the wall. There is some technology there too.
absolutely
Cool.
the release angle and so on.
Yeah, absolutely. So one piece of tech that you cannot live without.
Um, my MacBook Air is something that I love because inside it contains my brain, kind of thinking through the notes, and obviously, I jot down a lot of my thoughts. I built my own apps that I just personally use for my voice journal, my locations and people who I'm not being in touch with. How can I establish more relationship with the people who I probably I'm not in touch with very closely. So I actually being an avid programmer, I build my own apps.
Cool. I know you remember you showed me an app that actually tracks the eyeball.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
that's for the kids,
okay.
for making sure they can safely drive the road,
Yeah.
particularly when they're learning. But all of them are, just in small progressive conditions. They have not
They're
been
not yet
released yet.
commercialized
It's
yet.
not.
Okay.
It's definitely I'm few year, maybe few months from
That's,
there.
it's just a matter of time.
Just a matter of time.
And how do you unwind after a long day?
I take my dog for a walk. He's darling of the family. He
Of
keeps
course.
the entire four of us, together.
Hmm.
I just love playing with him and taking him for a walk and just uh, feel the love. Feel the love of nature around you. Uh, when I'm not doing some garden work
Garden
and
work.
yard work
Okay.
stuff.
Cool. And what's one of the favorite cities that you visited, either for work or for holiday?
I wanted to say Vegas
Hmm.
purely because of the conferences that happen and the brain power that kind of gets
Comes there.
shared,
Yeah.
But then, if you really look at from a technology standpoint, I admire the Bay Area, San Francisco, purely the infinite
Opportunities out there. Hmm.
opportunities along with the technology innovations. You rub shoulders with people who are designing the next generation systems. I wish just like the model distillation, a model of such innovation trickles down to every big city of the world.
Cool. And any destination from a holiday perspective?
We have recently been to Bahamas, so I will say it's right fresh off my mind that we loved it.
Awesome, awesome. So, AI in 10 years, is it going to be overhyped or is it going to be a game changer?
I would not say overhyped. It certainly will be game changer in specific industries such as science, biomedical, where
Hmm.
we have not been able to understand certain patterns of our own body. Now we will have a lot of data sets. The whole stem transplants and organ regeneration could probably become easier. But
Right.
I would still advise everything with a caution that it needs to have the right guardrails around it, because without guardrails, AI could also take some unwanted territories.
Cool. So now we come to a stage where it's more of a selfish section, not
Sure.
selfish. Just we ask this question to everybody out there, and feel free to be as open as you'd like it to. What did you've been with Business Club for nearly like almost like a year or so,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
What did you like about Business Club, and what are the things that you didn't like? What would you like to see in the future? I'd love to know from you.
See, I love about Business Club being a volunteer slash an organization that attracts people, attracts entrepreneurs, right? It doesn't push you a huge agenda that you're going to sell something or you're going to you need to buy something from this group of people. It's almost like an idea explosion that happens in that room
Right.
once a week, and all the happy hours and other informal chats that you kind of coordinate. That's what vibration is all about, right? That's where innovation can stem
Right.
in. And specifically for small businesses where you cannot go and invest in every division to grow, this is where each of these two small businesses or multitude of small businesses can come in and help each other
Absolutely.
grow.
Yeah.
And I think by providing that connecting touch points, you're almost like the AI world of neural network, right? You are actually connecting the neurons that are all around with synapses and striking points, where if it makes sense for them to relate with each other, they build a partnership, and you are being in the center point of providing such partnership.
Yeah.
I mean, I love the entire model.
Great. Anything that you don't like about us?
I think I've heard some of your guests say, hey, you have not yet reached out in terms of going aggressive with respect to external knowledge base, right? There are tons of people here, but then we are not living in a physical limitation world. This is a virtual world. So I would say we got to take this beyond
Virtual.
Charlotte
Yeah, of
boundaries
course.
and make, again, everybody should be turning up with passion, and they should get out of the room that they have learned something new
Every day.
and I
Yeah.
think I think these are baby steps, right? We certainly are in a great spot as a humanity where technology is enabling us. You are now connecting the people, so it's going to obviously become big.
Yeah, so I'll just answer that question, and that's the 2025 model. I don't know if you've seen our new revamped website. In 2025, we are turning the tables around, and we are saying, hey, you get access. If you're part of Business Club, you get access to tailored mentorship,
Sure.
a lot of resources, and a vibrant network.
Yep.
And there is obviously some monetization aspect to it. And in 2025, we are looking to first establish Charlotte as the base model with about 10 to 12 business clubs happening here.
Yeah.
And then the idea is to kind of extrapolate that into all over US, combine that with the virtual meetings as well as in-person meetings. So I think that's going to explode, and we're super duper excited about it.
I think good luck with all the journey, and I'm sure I would love to be part of this journey as well.
Sure.
And I think what we are doing is to create a positivity amongst businesses. So that would be, when you have the right intent. I always say to myself that assume positive intent in anybody doing anything around you. Never question their intent. With their experience and their background, they are thinking good for you, and they are reacting or responding to certain situations. So when we are having the right attitude and intent, I would say we got to see success.
Absolutely. Srini, it's been a pleasure knowing more about you than I've ever known. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to having many more conversations.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure talking to you. Yeah.
Great. Hey guys, I hope you really liked the video, and if you did, please like, subscribe, and comment. And we would like to reach many more small business owners. I would really appreciate if you can share the video with them as well. Thank you, and see you until next time. Have a great one.